The actual design of it is quite significant in that it's not your normal student accommodation. It's built in a truly sustainable fashion, and the design is such that when a student's lived in it, hopefully when they move on, they will take that sustainable lifestyle with them. And when I say sustainable lifestyle, it's not just about recycling and energy, it's about being part of a community, neighbourliness, all of those sort of things.
The site's a lot bigger than I originally anticipated it would be, and I think a lot of students don't expect it to be this big. Although we did know there'll be 1,012 beds, but we thought they'd be cramped together as you'd expect. I've been speaking to one of the builders who's giving me some more information about the different areas as we've gone along, and it's really interesting to know how they've tried their best to make it as sustainable and eco-friendly as possible.
I have to say that the developer and the architect on this site, the amount of detail and the amount of work and the extra mile they've gone, it's just phenomenal.
With it also being more eco-friendly in comparison to the other accommodation, I think students will appreciate this a lot more than what they've had in the past.
The actual design is to produce a student home. I know in the past student accommodation has been built around like cluster flats, and to me a cluster flat was a place, it was a bit soulless sometimes. You walk into the front lobby, you wouldn't speak to anybody, you might let people in behind you. You walk into the lift, you go up to your floor, you get out of the lift, you go into the and it's very soulless, and you tended not to know people that are around you.
The green represents the beginning of a new phase for the area, a £25 million regeneration project, the largest that the university has embarked on since it was first built in the 1960s.
My involvement with the project is I was the lead negotiator on putting the deal together with the council, Yorkshire Forward, the two developers and the university. So it's been a long journey over the last few years putting all that together. It was a complex deal, so it was a tricky thing to do, particularly because all of the parties needed to get what they wanted out of this village, and it was, we had to compromise, and we've ended up with a deal that I think we're all happy with and really proud of, so it's been a real achievement.
At that time, the marketplace for development was very, very poor, and I have to say that I think for the university and the developers to have brought this forward in the market that they have and built it is fantastic.
I mean, construction itself is obviously it's a moving target, if you like, probably the best way of describing it. Weather conditions affect us, deliveries can affect us, there's a multitude of different things that can affect us. But the whole part of controlling that is managing, and yeah, we get problems, we get the day-to-day problems, we occasionally get the bigger problems, but it's all about how you deal with them.
All the materials used on site have a certain environmental rating. The less brickwork and blockwork you can use, the more environmentally friendly, really. So masonry, stuff like that, it's got a high embodied sort of carbon footprint, basically, just right through from extracting it, processing it, getting it in, what have you, as opposed to timber, stuff like that.
I think one of the main things is sort of materials and the methods that are being employed to achieve a high level of sustainability, and in particular the links into the BREEAM, which on this development we're going for BREEAM Outstanding, which is the first one in the country that's multi-residential. Certainly the timber frame aspect on 9 blocks is again 7 stories in places is unusual from a build point of view. It's not the common kind of build.
Obviously there's a commercial aspect to it from a developer perspective, but from a university perspective it's about education and about the student experience and about Ecoversity. But also from the Bradford Metropolitan Council's perspective in Yorkshire Forward, it's about regeneration.
The Thornton Road, Lister Hills area was in the centre of the rapid industrialisation of Bradford in the mid-19th century that led it to becoming the wool capital of the world. In more recent times, the iconic and magnificent sandstone mill buildings have been neglected as the wool industry declined. The green stretches across the line of the proposed inner ring road from the 1960s city master plan that was never built, but which has contributed to the planning blight from which the area has suffered. The green is therefore a catalyst for the regeneration of not just the university campus, but also this key gateway to the city centre. Already some of the old mill buildings are being refurbished and new uses being found.
You get a lot better feel for what the final product's going to look like now with the protective film off, so that's one of the shades of grey. Lower down you get lighter shades like that scattered around. This is one of the townhouses, it's the most advanced we have at the minute, as I say. What you've got here is basically you've got a shared living area, so around there you'll have your TV over in the corner, sofas, tables, so on and so forth. So what you can see actually at this stage is just some of the insulation that goes into the walls essentially. Again, a key build-up in the environmental rating of the building is its ability to keep the heat in that is produced, energy efficiency. So as you can see, thick insulation on all the external walls. Likewise, all the internal walls be insulated as well, the floors are insulated. Basically this is a step further than what we've just seen downstairs, so we've put this silver membrane on, which is an airtight barrier basically.
At the very start of the project it was actually, could we get something out of the ground, because we had sort of 4 or 5 partners and it felt very like it was going to be a really difficult task to actually complete all those negotiations successfully and actually manage to get a building coming out of the ground. So that was my first hope. It was then about the build itself and what we were trying to generate here at the university, which was that village atmosphere for students, and to have decent accommodation, but accommodation that they would be proud to live in.
Hoardings, which are often just plain white ugly hoardings, can be used to perhaps even convey powerful messages. When I was first approached and I discovered about this environmentally friendly student village that was being built, I was quite amazed. I was given a tour of the building inside and what the whole concept is. It kind of fit perfectly with what my work is about and what my whole philosophy is really. Bringing back to the forefront important values which are fading away from modern society, and what they are trying to, bring about through recycling and changing people's attitudes and even their lifestyle, the way they kind of live within this village. I had to be involved with it. This section of the wall was a focus on really the pen being mitered in the sword. I was inspired to hear about the biodiversity pond that's being built here. Why don't we have more of this? Collecting the rain and reusing that. What a beautiful thing to, very simple idea, but it's something that, as human beings we're so wasteful and we don't kind of think about these things enough. I'm genuinely inspired by what I see here, and it inspired me to paint something meaningful, something that was relevant.
I think the aspiration was always to create something unique. What we're trying to do is to create an environment where those things can flourish, where the whole notion of sustainability isn't just about the student, about the university, but it's about working with the city and working with the very diverse communities that we have at Bradford. That's one of the attractions of the university, is that diversity.
The green here is a fundamental part of the living side of Ecoversity. Looking at energy, looking at waste, looking at how they live together, looking at the issues of social justice, etc. So it's really major and significant development, which you won't find elsewhere in UK higher education.
So it's not just about providing a bed and a place to do the revision and the coursework. It's a social space and it's a life experience space as well.
Wow.
It's very tidy.
This is
It'll always be like this, I can assure you.
That's a lovely picture. Yeah, it's very nice, isn't it?
The fridge freezers are A+,
Yeah.
so obviously highly energy efficient.
Yeah.
One of the key features in here is the energy monitoring. It will tell you what you're currently using from a utility perspective in terms of gas, electric and water. Yeah, we're developing an induction programme for the students which will incorporate all the sustainability features for the building in terms of operation, but also in terms of behaviour.
Yeah, the quality of the finish is great.
Yeah.
Everything functions. So the green fins that you see on the windows, they're bracelet. They're there to shade the sun, because that's sort of southwest facing, as you can see now actually, with the sun going on it. So it shades the bedroom in the summer. In the winter it'll let the light in. The solar panels on the roof again are not just for gimmicks. They do heat probably about 90% of the hot water that the flats will use. There is what they call a SUDS pond, a sustainable urban drainage pond, and that's designed to collect rainwater and slow the impact of rainwater going into the drainage system. The air tightness of the building is such that internally there's an air system which goes through a filter, and the air that's going out warms the air that's coming in, so you don't lose the heat that's going out of the building, it's recirculated, but it's fresh air that's coming in.
Kitchen, dining area through here, and then the lounge end. There'll be 12 students in one house, so there's going to be 4 floors with 2 bathrooms on each floor.
So remember, the townhouses are for 12 students sharing the townhouse. So this communal area, the kitchen, living space, is for 12 people. I can see this room being quite a bit of the party rooms. Downstairs, quite big. Out into the patio area where this will be all green and grass. I can see a lot of socialising happening.
I think it's pretty good for, you know, a first year student, because they're going to come in and have a good social life.
With the design of the rooms, it was through student surveys of what students wanted, and a bigger bed than a single was always a thing that students mentioned. Another thing they mentioned was storage. So with storage under the beds, that was a big one. So you got 2 storage compartments under the bed.
That's really nice.
And another thing that came up on the student says was a mirror. And if you open the cupboard door there.
Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
Exactly.
I like it actually. Yeah. Like the bedroom space and like the old study area is actually on point. So yeah.
It's actually really nice, yeah. It's a lot better than I'd anticipated it to be. It's quite nice.
As you walked up the stairwell and into the areas, did you notice that the lighting was on sensors? Again, to cut down on energy consumption, because students don't turn lights off. We've got to have lights in bedrooms. You cannot just have sensors, because obviously in the bed you'll be moving, the light will be flashing on it, but like a disco.
Yeah, it's really nice actually. It's the best that I've seen anyway.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
The bathrooms are the same all across the site. So if you've got an ensuite or you've got a townhouse, the bathroom is the same standard. We will have people who come in to train students on how to clean. We have a warden team on site for any pastoral care.
I think we need somebody to teach her not to clean too much.
Oh, get that on video. Students come and say, David, why have we got a television in the kitchen? It's not actually a television, it shows students in money value how much energy they're using.
The way to make change is not from people like me or you, but from the younger people, because they're the people that's going to really embrace it.
Well, I'm not much of a sustainable guy, but still I think it's a good initiative.
Asking them that question now is great, and getting that answer. What would be really interesting is once they've lived in it for a whole year, do they feel the same? Are they actually living in the same manner? We have an allotment on the university, and there are students that use that. Within the student union, there are a group of people that are really interested in permaculture, and we run courses on that. And I know from a colleague of mine at Lancaster, they had a grassed back garden, and the director of estates got really upset because the student kept digging it up, and I kept saying, you're missing the point. That's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be planting.
In some ways, the nice thing is that the issues around sustainability and community are very much now driven by the students. So yeah, there will be a gap between how we think the green will work and how it actually will, but that gap is precisely what makes universities very interesting places.
The green also provides a focal point for the re-landscaping of the university campus, and there are a number of major new projects planned. These include all-weather sports facilities and more places for socialising and recreation. A green lung in the heart of the city.
What impact this will have? Well, you know, there's over 1,000 students. They're going to need shops, they're going to need restaurants, they're going to need, you know, meeting places. So I think that keeping the students here, along with the existing students who are already here, it must impact on the area, and it will regenerate, it will kick it off.